This for my people that's been praying, God been told you to move. I know you waiting for perfection, but you know what to do. Already gave you confirmation, you just making excuse. Too busy worried what they saying, you got nothing to prove. You don't even have to worry, you're the right one. When you're walking in your purpose, watch it all come. Now your cup keep running over till it's hitting the floor. He keep blessing you with more, we just call it the poor. Yeah, we just call it the poor. He keep blessing you with more, we just call it the poor. Now you know what's in store. Your cup keep running over cause it come from the poor.
What's going on? What's popping? What's cracking-lacking? What's shaking? What's baking, baby? I hope y'all are doing amazing, and welcome to the Poor Podcast, where we stop waiting for more and start using what God already gave us. I'm your host, Nella, and around here, we're building with what's already in our hands. So whether that's your life, your mindset, your business, or just the next step, it's time to get into today's pour. And for today's pour, I need y'all to stop asking God for another idea. Now, before one of y'all clutch your pearls or you get offended within the first 5 minutes of the episode and you ready to click off, just hear me out, okay? Because every single time somebody tells me that they are stuck, right? I hear some type of version of the same thing, whether that's I don't know what business to start. I don't know what God is calling me to do. I don't know who God is calling me to serve. I don't know what my niche is. I don't know what my thing is, right? I don't even know where to begin, Nella. And every single time I hear that, I end up asking a bunch of questions. I'll ask you things like, what do people come to you for? Right? What problems have you solved? What are you naturally good at? And I'll even ask you things like, what have you figured out that somebody else is struggling with? And you know what's funny? Nobody ever says nothing. Never, ever have I ever had a session with somebody where they say nothing. Every time I ask one or multiple of those questions, they start talking. And the more they talk, the more evidence shows up in the stories that they're telling me. Matter of fact, one of my favorite parts of a strategy session, now that I think about it, is watching people accidentally stumble or reveal their own answer. Literally, like, they will sit here and come into a strategy session with me and try to convince me that they don't know what they should be building, that they don't know what their gift is, that they feel like they don't have anything. And then 20 minutes later, they have described the same gift 11 different ways. Same gift. And I will sit there like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear me, hear you, hear me, hear you? Do you know what you just said to yourself, to me? Right? Because I don't think that the issue is that people don't have anything, right? We are all put here on this planet with a purpose, with a mission that was assigned to us. The issue is that we become blind to what we do have. Right? That's the difference. If you genuinely had nothing, that's one conversation. But if you are overlooking something because it doesn't look the way you want it to look, or because it's not as grandiose as you want it to look, that's a different conversation. If you genuinely had nothing, I could understand. And we got to dig a little bit deeper to see what that looks like. But if you are overlooking, then that just means this is not what I want it to be. And a lot of times when people come to me, they have the two confused, right? They keep saying things like, I just don't know, Nella. I don't know what my niche is. I don't know what my business is. I don't know what this is. When what they really mean is, I don't see it. I don't see it. If you don't know, then you need more information, right? But if you don't see it, then all you need is perspective. And typically that's why we have mentors and coaches. If you don't know, then you need more information. But if you don't see it, then you need perspective. A lot of people are trying to solve a perspective problem with more information. And as a matter of fact, y'all don't need another course. You don't need another workshop. You don't need another seminar. You don't need another conference. You don't need another challenge. You don't need another notebook. And trust me, I'm guilty with the notebooks. Okay? If you saw my desk, you'd be like, girl, you need deliverance. You don't need any more of that. As a matter of fact, leave the notebook aisle alone. Leave the stationery aisle alone. Just in Target, in Walmart, in any of the stores, in Barnes and Noble, whatever store you get your stationery from, Amazon, leave it alone. You don't need notebook number 48, all right? The issue with what you are dealing with is that you have become familiar with your gift. You have gotten so used to it that it doesn't seem like it could be the thing that you've been searching for, right? It doesn't feel valuable anymore to you because you have gotten so familiar with it that you just assume everybody should be able to do the same thing. And that's the lie that we end up telling ourselves, right? You know what familiarity actually does? Familiarity makes the extraordinary ordinary. Familiarity makes the extraordinary ordinary. The extraordinary becomes ordinary because you get too familiar with it. You get too close to it. You get too used to it, right? I want you to think about it like this. Think about your phone, all right? Think about your phone. This device does so many different things. This device, I can pull up multiple streaming platforms. I can watch a movie. I can go to YouTube University. I can read a book on it. I can text people that are not even in proximity of me, right? I can call people and get them in an instant. I can video chat people. I can search the internet. I have it. It can track my nutrition. It can track my walks and all of those different things. I can take pictures. I can take videos. You can record a podcast. You can run a whole business from a device that fits in your pocket. And that's not even the tip. That's not even the tip of the iceberg of what this device can do. And all of that is crazy, right? But nobody walks around on this planet Earth amazed by their phone. Nobody walks around amazed and in awe of their phone. Why? Because you're used to it. You're familiar with it. Familiarity makes the incredible feel normal. Now I want you to imagine what familiarity does with your gift. Same way it does with the phone. Imagine what that does with your gift. The thing that you have always been good at, the thing that comes like second nature to you, you don't think about it, you just go into action, the thing that people naturally come to you for, the thing that comes easy to you, it's been attached to you for years, more than likely your whole entire life. And that is the exact reason why it doesn't feel special. Because you live with it. You lived with it your entire life. So why would this feel special to me? It's normal. It's everyday life. And that's where the poor comes from. That's where 2 Kings 4 comes from, right? That's how 2 Kings messed your girl up. I'm not going to hold y'all. It messed me up because everybody talks about the widow and the prophet Elijah, right? The prophet and the widow. And everybody talks about the oil, how she poured the oil and it multiplied and everything else. And yes, that's great. That's dandy. That's amazing. But I don't think the oil is the craziest part of that story. Like, I really want you guys to think about it. The prophet asked her, mind you, she's in the midst of a crisis here. She is literally in the midst of a crisis. She just lost her husband. Right? She just lost her husband. She is literally staring debt in the face. The people are coming. The tax collectors are literally in the process of coming to take her sons as collateral. They are literally in the process, ready to come take her sons as collateral. She is going through this crisis. She goes to the prophet Elijah. She asks him, hey, what can I do? Please help your servant. Please help your girl out. Help me. And this man says to her, what do you have in your house? Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I'm going through a crisis, like I just lost my husband, I have all of this debt, I ain't got no money, and they about to come take my children, and all you got to say to me is what's in my house? The Lord is still working on me, y'all. But I would be annoyed, respectfully, but I would be annoyed. I'm being completely honest with you guys. I would be irritated. Because what you mean? I just gave you a whole crisis that most people would crumble under, and you're worried about what's in my household, right? But then, to add to the crazy, she sits there and she responds and says, I have nothing except a small jar of oil. Nothing except those two words. Do y'all literally hear how crazy that sounds? If not, cool. I'm not going to judge you yet, but I'm going to if by the end of this you don't get it, okay? The answer is sitting in the house, and she calls it nothing except. The solution that she has, the solution to her whole problem, to the chaos that is ensuing upon her life right now, she says nothing except. Can I be honest with y'all? Can I be honest with you? A lot of us are living our life in that sentence. A lot of us sound exactly like the widow. We will say things like, I don't really know anything except, I don't really have followers except, I don't have the experience except, I don't have the equipment except, I don't have the resources except, I don't have the network except, I don't have the skills like that person except. We live in that sentence subconsciously. You live in that sentence subconsciously. But the good thing about it, is that the entire miracle is hiding behind the word accept. And that's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Because at first she undermines what she has in the house by saying, I have nothing. Right? I have nothing. I know, a little pitchy. It's cool. The accept ends up being something that we don't expect it to be. But it's obvious at the end of the day, right? The accept is never going to be the thing that you're praying for. The accept is always going to be the thing that you're dismissing on a regular basis. I'm guilty of it. Last year, I was driving home from Houston, Texas, back to Atlanta, and my car decided it wanted to kick the bucket in Louisiana. Completely engine done. And I'm in the middle of nowhere land. I wasn't even in NOLA. I wasn't even in New Orleans, all right? I was like probably an hour and a half outside New Orleans. And in the midst of this, mind you, at that time, I was driving Lyft and Uber. I was driving Amazon Flex. I was doing DoorDash just to make ends meet on top of odd in and out jobs that I was doing for clients, right? And I had been praying for God to bring an opportunity that would relieve me of all of this. Now, remember, I just said the solution to what you've been praying for is never going to be an opportunity. It's always going to be what's hiding behind the accept. My whole entire life, I have been told my mind is my gift, right? My mind, Nella, your mind is your gift. Your mind is your gift. Your mind is your gift. And I couldn't stand it. I could not stand people telling me that, especially my husband when we first met, because it's like, what you mean my mind is my gift? You don't think I'm pretty? You don't think I'm cute? You don't think I'm kind of funny? I think I'm kind of funny. You don't like my smile? You don't like the way I look? He used to always say, I love her mind. And I would get so annoyed because it's like, that's not how you turn. Like, what? It's not how you woo a woman, your mind. I love your mind. No, you tell her how pretty she is. Right? But then when my car broke down, I had to spend 3 days in this rundown motel in no man's land, figuring out how am I going to, because now I don't have my car for a month and a half, almost 2 months, the entire summer basically. What am I going to do? Because I can't make the money the way that I used to. So I had to take inventory of what I had in my house. What skills did I have? What experience did I have? What knowledge did I have? What wisdom did I have? What do people typically come to me for? And it narrowed down to 2 things that required what? The gift of my mind. And ever since that day, I have not had to go back to driving Lyft, Uber, DoorDash, Amazon Flex, all of those things, because I started to pour my oil. I took the inventory and I said, you know what? I found it. This is what was placed in my hands. This is what the gift was given to me. And now I'm ready to pour it. The thing that I had always been dismissing was the very thing that took me out of the situation I had been praying to be taken out of. And the same thing goes for you. You are listening to me right now, or you're watching me right now, and you're saying, Nella, I've been praying to be taken out of this circumstance, out of this situation. I've been praying for an opportunity. I've been praying for a new job. I've been praying for the right client. I've been praying for the business. And God is saying to you, I have placed in you this gift that you have been using this entire time, and you will not recognize it because it does not look the way you want it to look. And unfortunately, a lot of times that's where we miss it. We pay attention when our backs are against the wall, when we're cornered, when we feel down and out, when we feel like our life is falling apart. We end up, and I'm guilty of this, we end up paying attention to all of the things that we don't have. We'll pay attention to the money we don't have, the opportunities we don't have, how this person got it over us, got the promotion over us, but we've been here longer. How we don't have the network, we don't have the followers, and we can't do this because even though that person may be able to do it, but we don't look at where that person started. They didn't start with all of those followers. At day one, at day zero, they had one follower, and it was probably their mama. But they recognized what their oil was, what their gift was, and they poured it. So my question to you right now is, what's your gift? What is already in your hand? Throughout scripture, we can see God always, God never pays attention to what is the ideal situation. He will always pay attention to what you currently have. Throughout scripture, without hesitation, what is currently available to you? Moses, what do you have in your hand? David had a slingshot. The widow, she had oil. The disciples, they had fish and bread. And it wasn't even the disciples, it was the little boy that had fish and bread. The widow, once again, she had oil. All different stories, all different circumstances, all different points in time. Same exact principle. God starts with what is available. So what's available to you? Not what's ideal, not what is the picture perfect moment, not what you are hoping to have, not the what is the best case scenario. What do you currently have? What is the gift that was put inside of you that you have been overlooking? What is your accept? I want you to write that down. What is your accept? God will always start with what's available. Not where he wants you to be, not where you want to be. What is currently available? Because if we are waiting, y'all, if we are waiting for ideal conditions, we're going to be waiting forever. What Cardi B said, we got beef forever. All right. We are going to be waiting forever if we wait for the ideal conditions. If we say to ourselves, I'll start when I have the money. I'll start when I get to 5, 10, 50,000 followers. I'll start when I have all of the equipment. I'll start when I have the connections. I'll start when the audience is available. I was listening to somebody not too long ago on a call for a community that I host, and they didn't want to launch their community or have webinars and masterclasses because they didn't only want to have 5 people on there. They didn't want to only have 5 people inside of their community. Well, guess what? You have to start somewhere. Unless you have 1,000 community members available and ready to go, you're starting at square one. You're starting from the bottom. Instead of saying, I'll start when I know exactly what to do, when I have the full picture, God's going to say, cool. But you're going to wait for a minute. You're going to wait for a minute because we don't get clarity by hoping and praying. There is a reason why scripture says faith without works is dead. Clarity comes from movement. There is a difference. There is a difference between putting the cart before the horse, essentially. We sit here praying for clarity, and God is sitting here like, okay, so when you gonna move? We sit here praying for the opportunity for the gift to come, and God is saying, I've already put it in you, but you're not moving, so I can reveal the next step to you. Let's put it in this terms, in this way. Let's say somebody needs to learn how to drive. Yes, we got to read the manual. We got to take driver's ed courses and all the different things. But you truly, and anybody who has their driver's license and is relatively good, because some of us be getting our driver's license out of Cheerio boxes, okay? But if you are relatively a good driver, you will say you don't truly learn how to drive until you get behind the wheel. Right? We will learn the laws, we'll learn the rules of the road and all of the different things. If you're pulling up and you have the right of way and this, that, if you come to a intersection and everything, who ends up having the right of way, the person that gets there first, so on and so forth. You will learn all of those things from a manual, but you will not learn the practicality of it until you get behind the wheel. Purpose works the same exact way. You will not learn the practicality of your purpose. You will not know the next step. You will not receive clarity until you start to move, until you start to do the things. And that is the uncomfortable part. We have to move in order to get clear. We have to move to understand our purpose. We have to move in order to understand our gift. And during that uncomfortable season, you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll start to adjust, you'll pivot. New things will start to get revealed to you. And once again, that's where most people get stuck, because they want certainty. I have to be certain this is where I'm going. I have to absolutely know this is the direction that I need to go in. But you're not always going to get certainty. You're going to get clarity. Clarity says, let me start with certainty. Certainty says, show me the whole picture. Show me the whole entire picture, and then I'll move. Guess what? The God that I serve, he's in the next step business. He's not in the whole picture business, unfortunately. Fortunately, but unfortunately, he's not in the whole picture business. Because if he showed us the whole entire picture, honey child, boo-boo, hunty. If he showed us the whole entire plan, we'd be like, you know what, Lord, It's your humble and faithful servant here. Yes. So, you know that whole picture that I told you I actually wanted? Now that you have shown it to me, now that you have shown me the setbacks, now that you have shown me the mountains I'm going to have to climb, now that you have shown me the valleys I'm going to have to go through, now that you have shown me the waiting seasons, now that you have shown me the seasons that's going to stretch me, I'm good. I'm actually good on it. So, you know what? Actually, Lord, never mind. I'm good. I don't even want it as bad as I thought I did. Nope. So instead of going through that, because he knows who we are in our human nature, he says, I'm only going to show you the next step. But the only way he can show you the next step is if you take the step before it. Have you ever been on one of those, and some of us may have seen them on movies or whatever the case may be, but those staircases that have the lights on them, and the only time the next set of lights actually light up is when you step on the step before it? God is the same exact way. He is the same exact way. In the story of the widow, the prophet Elijah was the same exact way with her. He didn't give her the whole vision and say, hey, I just want you to go ahead and get some oil, some vessels and pour the oil in there and then you'll be good. He gave her step by step by step by step. He said, what's in your house? She told him nothing except a small jar of oil. Then he said, okay, I want you to go collect some vessels, not a few, as many as you can get. Right? He didn't say, I want you to go get the oil. He didn't say everything all in one sentence. He said, I want you to go get the vessels. That's it. So she went and got all of the vessels. He didn't give her a 5-year plan and say, here you go, hope it works out. He just gave her the next step. Just the instructions. Go gather vessels. That's it. One instruction, one step, the next step. And the thing in this that changed everything for me reading this is that the miracle was not hiding in the oil. The miracle was, and not even in her pouring the oil. The miracle was in her obedience. Right? The miracle was in her obedience because the oil was already in her house. Right? It wasn't a new thing. It wasn't a new idea. It wasn't a discovery that she had. It was already there. It wasn't missing. It wasn't hiding. She had access to the oil the whole entire time. She moved when he gave her instructions. She followed it. When he told her what to do, she did it. She participated in her own rescue. I want to know how many of us are waiting for God to do something, answer a question, answer a prayer, and God is sitting there looking back at us, waiting for us to move. He's waiting for us to take the next step. He's not waiting for you to do all of the things. He's just waiting for the next step. The next yes, the next movement, the next conversation, the next call, the next networking event that you go to, the next conference that you decide, I'm actually going to go to this one. The next action, the next video that you post up, even though you only get 2 likes and 1 comment. He is waiting for you to actually execute on the next piece of obedience. The thing that I have learned is that potential will never change your life. I loved science growing up. I loved it. It was my favorite. Science and English, they were my favorite subjects. In science, you learn about the different types of energy. You have kinetic and you have potential. Potential means that you're stagnant. You're going nowhere. You're still. Kinetic energy means I am in motion. The moment that you stop moving is the moment that you move into potential. So when people tell me, oh, Nella, you have so much, I get insulted because I'm not using it. I'm not in motion. It's telling me I'm not in motion. I'm not executing. I'm not doing what I should be doing. Right? Potential does not pay the bills. Potential does not keep the lights on. Potential doesn't change lives. It doesn't change my life. It doesn't change the lives of the people I'm called to serve. Potential doesn't make impact on people. Potential is stagnant. But applied potential becomes kinetic. The oil was always sitting in her house. But because it was sitting in her house, it wasn't paying the bills because it was potential. The oil sitting there didn't save the lives of her sons because it was potential. The oil sitting there didn't create generational wealth for her and her sons because it was potential. But the moment that she obeyed and started to pour the oil, that's when it became the kinetic energy. The poured oil is what paid the bills. The poured oil is what saved her sons. The poured oil is what created generational wealth because now they can live off the rest. Those are two different conversations. The oil that is sitting there versus the oil that's being poured are two different things. So maybe you have spent years collecting oil. You've been collecting experience, knowledge, skills, certificates. God knows we don't need no more certificates, y'all. We don't need no more. You've been collecting ideas. I could show y'all my notes app. I don't know if I actually want to do that. But you've been collecting ideas, stories, lessons. And now you're sitting there with so much in your hands, so much oil that you keep asking, what's next? But the thing is, with the oil that you have already collected, you have not done anything. I'm telling you right now, the next step is to pour your oil. I don't care if it's perfect or not. Pour your oil. Don't pour everything at once. Don't just dump out the whole jar. Everything doesn't have to be figured out in detail. And trust me, like I said, I am a type A person. I like to have everything planned out. But I understand that if I wait for excellence, if I wait for not even excellence, if I wait for perfection, it'll never get done. Pour your oil. Everything isn't going to be perfect. Everything isn't going to be figured out. Use what is already in your hands. Start where you are at. Pay attention to the evidence. If you don't know what the evidence is, I want you to go ahead and text 5 to 10 of your closest friends, your closest family members, your closest colleagues, whoever. 5 to 10 people that are close to you that you trust and ask them, what do you come to me for? And pay attention to their responses, because you're going to see a common thread through every single answer. What do you come to me for? Do not rebut what they say. Do not have objections to what they say. Take it in, accept it, and find the common thread. Stop dismissing your oil when it shows up. Stop calling it in nothing except. Because maybe, just maybe, just maybe, the answer isn't missing. Just maybe you have been overlooking your oil the entire time. So I need you to pour your oil. And that's today's pour. Business should I start? This week, you are asking, what have I been overlooking? This week, you are asking, what keeps showing up in my conversations, in the help that's being requested of me, the solutions that I am finding, the ideas that I am having? What do people consistently come to me for? If you don't know, ask. The only way you are going to realize your oil is if you ask, what have I been minimizing? Interview your gift. Interview yourself. The very thing that you are overlooking is the very thing that God is planning to use. That's today's pour.